when I reached out and asked if you had a subject, um, you said that the imagery, you've been playing with the imagery of Dark Sentinels,
Yes.
which might be a spooky title, uh, defeating ego's Dark Sentinels. Um, but we're going to clarify that.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. It does sound like it does sound like it's kind of spooky, does I didn't think about that until you said it. But we're gonna I that and here's the thing is the dark sentinels. Jesus talks about this in chapter 14, section 6. And just a little bit of what he says is there's no darkness that the light of love will not dispel unless it's concealed from love's beneficence. So we have dark thoughts, and the dark thoughts are not they're not necessarily mean that you're planning on going out and killing somebody. It's just these thoughts of I'm not okay. That person's not okay. Got our judgmental thoughts, our fear thoughts, our anger, guilt, lots of guilt in the mind. I mean, that's what the ego is guilt and fear. So of course we're going to have those thoughts in our mind. So that's the darkness that love will dispel. And I know that when I first started doing the course, that was hard for me to believe that it was that easy. That if I truly wanted any of these dark thoughts to go, that all I had to do was let go. Let go. The Holy Spirit would take them. He tells us in the course, at one point, he says something like, if you don't want it, the Holy Spirit will remove it from your mind. I mean, that's very clear and it's a very, very encouraging. So the only way to know that that's true, of course, is to do it. And so that's what I started doing. I started learning how to watch my mind very carefully. And in the beginning, the book I used was Inner Healing by Dan Joseph. It's very simple, three, three or four easy steps, and a lot of example stories in it. So it's was wonderful. And I thought this will be, I can do this. This will be easy because I've learned how to look at my thoughts. Mm, Belonging to a unity church, you learn how to do that. And so the first day I set out saying, today I'm going to notice as many thoughts as I can, thinking that this is going to be simple. Man, by the time the day was ended, I felt like somebody had beat me up. I was exhausted. I had no idea how many of those kind of thoughts were in my mind. But I continued to work at it, and now my mind is not so crowded with all those kinds of thoughts because, as he says, the light of love will dispel it, but it cannot dispel it if we're not going to allow it. Um, uh, if we're not going to allow it, if we keep hiding from these thoughts or hiding from these thoughts. So that's where the dark sentinels come in. That's the ego's scary ideas that make you not want to look at your dark thoughts. Like, for instance, and let me just say the dark sentinels are not beings, they're thoughts and beliefs, ego thoughts and beliefs. So your dark sentinels might say something like, this is scary, this is weird, you don't want to be doing this. Um, I'll tell you how I look at it. I have this like this visual in my mind that helps me to be understand what he's saying. Before I share that, let me just finish a little bit that I have here. So, what is kept apart from love cannot share its healing power because it's been separated off and kept in the darkness. The sentinels of darkness watch over it carefully, and you who made these guardians of illusion out of nothing, are now afraid of them. So he's telling us there's no ego that is a being either. It's just a thought system that we use. So we set these guardians of illusion in place ourselves to keep the story going. But we never plan to leave them there. We plan to move past them and out. So I have this visual in my mind. It's like as I go down my path in life, there are doors all along the way. And each one of those doors leads to truth. Each one of those doors will lead me out of the story if I want out of it. Now, that's not to say that I would die, or that I would cease to be here. It just means I wouldn't believe in the story anymore. Therefore, I would never suffer again. So it's called awakening. So I can awaken. Each one of those doors will lead me to awakening. Some of them will lead directly to awakening, some will lead to the next step. But if I become afraid to go through that door, then I'll just keep walking. And that's what
Right.
the ego says, just keep walking, Myron, just keep walking. You don't want to go here. This is scary. And so they're like they're like the ego's gatekeepers trying to prevent us from leaving the dream. And so it's just beliefs and thoughts that keep us from leaving the dream, that keep us continuing the story. Um, so sometimes they seem dark, fierce, frightening, but their power comes from our belief in them. So if I want to walk through a gate, let's say that, in fact, something that happened not too long ago is that I had, okay, this something happened this morning. I was just doing the usual things I do in the morning, and suddenly I had a thought about someone who had attacked me in their mind. They attacked me. They said something unkind. And I had a thought about that. And the thought was something, it was not words or even there was nothing, it was just a feeling. And this feeling was of distress, some form of distress. I don't want to think about this. See, that's the dark sentinel.
Right.
The sentinel says, don't look at this. Don't look at this. And so at first I didn't. And then the Holy Spirit brought it right back into my mind because I've asked to be led to see whatever needed to be healed. And the only thing was, I was like, oh, I saw that. That was just a dark sentinel telling me not to look at that. And I do not want that in my mind because Jesus says, I've got to get rid of those grievances. In fact, I think that's tomorrow's lesson, if I'm not mistaken.
Um, Myron,
Hmm.
um, could we say that the Dark Sentinels are also bypassing that?
And it can be bypassing. Yes. It's like, okay, how would I bypass it? Okay, so this thought comes up into my mind and I see it. I notice that it's too late, but there's a sentinel there that says, that's okay because you're the Holy Son of God. You don't have to worry about this. Or, okay, this is an illusion. You don't have to worry about that's just an illusion. See, that's a bypass because I went to that, not because it's not a bypass because it isn't true. It's a bypass because I didn't let myself feel the upset. I didn't let myself truly look at it. I've done that like on Facebook, be scrolling through there and I see somebody that I have a judgment against and I just like I don't think about it at all. I just keep scrolling. I don't want
Right.
to look at that because it reminds me that I have a judgment that's been unhealed. And that's the dark sentinel saying, don't look at this. Don't look at this. You'll just feel bad. Don't go there.
So Jesus really wants us to acknowledge, because we don't heal until we acknowledge. Nothing's healed until it's brought to that light of awareness and then handed over to the Holy Spirit. Um, we can't just the course never asks us to cruise through it, thinking everything's going to be okay. Who was it who said that unexamined life is not worth living?
Right.
Uh, and that's really the essence of the course. And the message that you're saying right now is acknowledge those dark sentinels and what they're guarding, and then only then can we hand them over to the Holy Spirit.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And another thing that happens, like I've noticed this, I noticed this, I remember this from myself, and I've noticed it in other people, is that as we get when we first start getting into the course and we start really doing the course, when we start actually doing the work that's asked for, the forgiveness. When we start doing that, that sometimes people will tell me, this is, I feel worse than when I started doing the course.
Mm.
And that's because we had not allowed ourselves to be aware of why our life wasn't working. And if our life was working, we probably would not have ever picked up the course. We'd pick it up because we need it. Um, so what happens then is we can get an increased fear, or we'll feel resistance. Like I can remember many times, the only reason I didn't stay right on top of the course for those first 10 years is because I would hit this. I'd get afraid, or more likely I would feel resistance. And the resistance might take the form of, well, I just don't have time today. Or, oh, I forgot to do my lesson. Now it's too late. I will tell you that I probably started and stopped the lessons easily 5 times, 5 years, because, and then many times within within that time, because I would get to a place where my resistance would keep me from doing it correctly. I put that in. Um, And then I would think, "Oh, well, I didn't do it right, so I can't do it now. I have to start over." And I would start over, and I would start over. I kept doing that for the longest time. It wasn't until I found Pathways of Light that and started doing the courses that I did all the lessons all the way through, and I have to say it made a huge difference. Everything began to turn around at that
Right.
point.
So, Myron, now that you are coaching other people, how do you help them go through the same thing that both you and I went through, where it feels several times I thought, well, I'm such a miserable course student. What's the point in picking it back up if I keep shoving it aside? And, I love Kenneth Wapnick's explanation that a good course student is a bad course student who forgives himself.
Yes.
Um, but I didn't know that at the time. So I felt like I was never going to get it.
I know, me too. Me too, for the longest time. Honestly, I've only become confident in the last few years. Everything up to that point was me doubting myself, then going back and doing it anyway, doubting myself and going back and doing it anyway. And that's what I've done this differently over the years, of course, as I've learned. But from where I'm standing now at this point, what I would tell people is it doesn't matter whether you believe it or not. It doesn't matter if you just hate what's being said. If you'll just do it, then you will be glad that you did. You will receive what you need, because the part of your mind that is fighting it is the ego. You can't fix the ego. Don't worry about that. Just keep doing it. And don't do it like it's like the hardest job you've ever had in your life. Do it just with a sense of love, of peace. So, maybe what I used to do was I would do the lesson, and at the end of the day, I'd go, "Oh man, I forgot it so many times. I can't believe it." Or I would spend at the end of the day, I would look back over my day and I think, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe how many times I judged. I'm never going to get this." And then I would try harder, and that's not necessary. Let's just take it at a lesson at a time. When this whole world is just a big classroom, and your particular classroom is designed especially for you, by you, before you came, designed especially for you. It has all the things you need to learn in order to wake up. They're right here, right now. And so just use it. You wake up and you get out of bed and you're not in a good mood. You're like, okay, well, let me go sit down with Jesus for a little while. Jesus says, I will help you, but I'll help you even more if you'll share your life with me, your joy and your pain. And so I took that very seriously, and that's exactly what I do. I share my life with him. I wake up, I don't feel happy and excited to be awake. well, then I go sit down with him and talk to him about it. It's very gentle. It's very easy. It's very gentle. It only feels hard when we make it hard, when we push against it or even push against ourselves or just try. I keep trying. And that was my thing, for years. Trying. I'm really trying. And now I just do whatever's in front of me. Just like if you it's like breathing. Just do it like I breathe.